You are driving down Nevada's Highway 50 alone at midnight, when the nightmare finally begins unfolding. Have you ever felt that icy chill creeping up your spine, warning you of impending doom? Mark ignored that terrifying gut feeling tonight. A simple mistake that would cost him absolutely everything. His old, dusty pickup truck rumbled along the black asphalt, the only sound in the desert. He had just filled the gas tank completely, about 100 miles back near Ely, Nevada. Yet he stared at the dashboard dial, watching the fuel needle rapidly plunging toward empty somehow. It made absolutely zero sense. But his anxiety spiked as the red warning light suddenly flickered. Stranded out here in the pitch black nowhere was practically a guaranteed death sentence for anyone. Miraculously, a flickering neon sign cut through the dense darkness, revealing a rusty, old gas station. Mark quickly pulled up to the archaic pumps, shivering as a cold desert wind howled past. The payment machine was completely busted, covered in weird, dark stains and a thick layer of dust. He sighed heavily, slamming his car door shut, and started walking toward the dimly lit office. The atmosphere felt insanely heavy, thick with a sour metallic stench that made him gag slightly. He peered through the dirty glass window, noticing the office appeared completely abandoned and extremely creepy. Deciding to leave, he turned back toward his truck when a raspy voice suddenly whispered hello. Mark flinched hard, spinning around to see an offbeat man in greasy overalls standing right there. The stranger had wild, unblinking eyes and an incredibly unsettling, wide grin stretched across his face. "Fill her up, buddy," the weird attendant asked, his voice sounding like grinding rusty metal gears. He pumped the gas slowly, muttering disturbing nonsense under his breath while staring intensely at Mark. Every movement the creepy guy made felt completely unnatural, like a broken puppet dancing on strings. The guy asked deeply personal questions about Mark's family, flashing a terrifyingly knowing, rotten yellow smile. Mark's stomach tied into nervous knots, the horrible vibes screaming at him to escape this place. He shoved a crumpled $20 bill at the guy, rushed to his truck, and sped away. Tires screeched on the dusty pavement as he left that terrifying gas station far behind him. Safely back on the lonely highway, Mark took a deep breath, trying to calm his racing heart. The deafening silence inside the dark cabin was abruptly broken when the radio snapped on itself. Blaring static filled the small space, slowly morphing into the horrific sounds of a woman screaming. It was an audio recording of pure torture, listening to someone being pushed to their absolute limit. Panic gripped his chest. Mark frantically smashed the radio buttons, trying to kill the awful noise. The station changed, but now a deep, demonic voice began singing a creepy childhood nursery rhyme. Suddenly, his headlights flickered wildly, casting long, monstrous shadows across the cracked desert asphalt directly ahead. The windshield wipers violently slashed back and forth, squeaking loudly against the perfectly dry glass pane. Mark felt he was losing his mind, screaming as the entire dashboard lit up like crazy. Trembling with absolute terror, he nervously glanced up into the smudged rectangle of the rearview mirror. Sitting silently in the backseat were two terrifying figures, their pale faces illuminated by dashboard lights. A man and a woman, looking exactly like rotting corpses, stared forward with dead, glassy eyes. Blood coated their torn clothes, and horrific impact marks destroyed their pale, lifeless, and bruised faces. Mark slammed on the brakes, sending the heavy truck skidding dangerously into the dry gravel shoulder. Dust clouded the air as the car jerked to a complete stop, plunging into total silence. The radio died, the lights stopped flickering, and the backseat was instantly empty and completely normal. He sat there gasping for air, clutching the steering wheel until his white knuckles ached badly. Then something inside Mark completely snapped. A dark psychosis flooded his frantic, terrified, and broken mind. He violently cranked the steering wheel, turning the heavy truck around on the desolate highway stretch. Roaring the engine, he sped aggressively back toward that cursed, rusty gas station in the dark. He parked haphazardly, practically tearing open the glove compartment to grab his heavy loaded silver revolver. Rage blinded him entirely. As he marched straight toward the dirty glass windows of the office, he raised the heavy firearm, squeezing the trigger repeatedly, shattering the glass into a million pieces. Gunshots echoed loudly across the silent desert, tearing large holes right through the flimsy wooden door. The creepy attendant slowly walked out from the shadows, still wearing that same sick, twisted smile. The man casually raised a pump-action shotgun, firing a deafening blast straight into Mark's right leg. Searing pain exploded through his thigh, forcing Mark to drop heavily down onto his bloody knees. The attendant coldly pumped another shell into the chamber, preparing to deliver the final killing shot. Through the blinding agony, Mark raised his trembling revolver and fired one last desperate, lucky bullet. The heavy round struck the strange man perfectly in the head, dropping him instantly, totally dead. Silence returned to the desert, broken only by Mark's pathetic, painful sobbing on the bloody concrete. He dragged his bleeding body over to the killer's corpse, weeping uncontrollably as the dark truth hit. The horrifying faces he saw sitting in his backseat were not just random, ghostly desert hallucinations. That brutally beaten, bloody man in the mirror was his own father, kidnapped exactly 2 years ago. The clues finally connected in his shattered mind. This crazy attendant was the notorious serial killer. The deep horror settled in his bones. He had avenged his father without even knowing it. The bloody desert winds howled around him, mourning the terrifying tragedy that just unfolded out here. Mark lay bleeding on the cracked pavement, staring up at the cold, uncaring, and starry sky. The heavy weight of his brutal discovery pushed his broken mind straight into a total blackout. Some nightmares never truly end. They just follow you down every dark and lonely highway imaginable. If this story stayed with you, please subscribe, hit like, share it with someone who needs to hear this. I'll see you soon.